Hello, I'm Victoria Lugo, Pacific Oaks College Dean of Students, and welcome to our 2020 virtual commencement ceremony. To open our ceremony, I'd like to welcome Valerie Coachman Moore, Chair of the Pacific Oaks College and Children's School Board of Trustees.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Valerie Coachman Moore, and for the past several years, I have served as a member of the Pacific Oaks Board of Trustees and became chair of the board in spring 2020. On behalf of our Pacific Oaks president, the Board of Trustees, faculty, the administrative staff, and the entire Pacific Oaks College family, it is my great honor to stand before you and welcome you to our 60th annual commencement ceremony. I'd like to take a moment to reflect on those previous 59 commencement ceremonies, which have graduated students much like yourselves, grounded in the same values that permeate the school today. The importance we place on the individual, diversity, equity, social justice, and participatory decision-making. These values have withstood the test of time and will continue to be our guiding light as we move forward into an uncertain future for higher education. My husband and I learned about these values as parents when our now adult children attended Pacific Oaks Children's School. PO principles remain as important and socially relevant today as they were when the first Pacific Oaks graduates received their diplomas in front of families and friends in the 1960s. And they will continue to be a part of the institution's DNA well into the future. This is an incredibly proud day for all of us, a time when we come together to celebrate the remarkable achievements of today's graduates. And as we celebrate them, we also celebrate you, the families, loved ones, friends, and others who have supported our students as they pursued their educational goals and made dreams come true.
I'd now like to welcome Dr. Michael Horowitz, President of TCS Education System.
Greetings, Pacific Oaks graduates. What a time to graduate. At the dawn of a new decade and in a year as eventful as 2020. There's so much potential and opportunity ahead of you. I have no doubt you will play a big role in helping advance the changes that are needed in our communities and in our society. The perseverance and drive you have demonstrated during your time at Pacific Oaks will continue to help you succeed in becoming true agents of change. Be driven forward by the lessons you have learned, the hurdles you have overcome, and all you have experienced to get to this moment. I have no doubt you will do great things. I'd also like to recognize your loved ones and family members. You wouldn't have gotten here without them, and I know they feel a great sense of pride in your accomplishments as well. Congratulations. Graduates, continue to draw strength from your loved ones. Continue to draw strength from Pacific Oaks and your fellow graduates. They'll be part of your networks and lives for many, many years to come. We are a community that is bonded by this moment, and we're going to be in each other's networks and lives for many years to come. Muchas felicidades por todos sus logros. Han estudiado mucho para lograr graduarse. Les deseo lo mejor en su vida. As a Pacific Oaks trustee and on behalf of the TCS Education System family, let me wish you once again congratulations on your achievement. Thank you.
It is my pleasure to now introduce Dr. Jack Pedunton, President of Pacific Oaks College and Children's School.
Graduating students, Pacific Oaks trustees, colleagues, and most especially families and friends. Welcome to the 60th Pacific Oaks College Commencement Ceremony. This commencement is one of the most meaningful and significant events. The events that you will always remember. This year, there are 451 graduating students from Pacific Oaks College. 57% of these students are earning their master's degree. The remaining are earning bachelor or completing their certificate. Our Pacific Oaks graduate this year reside in 14 states and represent 10 nationalities. Today is the day that each graduate earns a new title. You can proudly call yourself a graduate of Pacific Oaks. This is an honor that you would share with nearly 10,000 alumni who graduated before you. Graduates, today we celebrate you. Today we also congratulate families and friends who have made today possible for you. Please join me in recognizing and thanking them, starting from our mothers, fathers, spouses, partners, and all other loved ones. Let's not forget our most favorite supporter group, the children of our graduates. We thank you from the bottom of our hearts. The celebration of those who are receiving degrees today relies upon collective efforts from multiple groups, including our faculty, our staff, our board of trustees, who continuously contribute their knowledge, expertise in guiding Pacific Oaks to provide quality education. Class of 2020 is very special. Several of you have been impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic while you are completing your program. We have seen your determination to earn your degree. We have also seen how you adapted with new ways of learning while managing increasing demands from work and family. You are true winners. And I know that you will remember how to be resilient when you face future challenges. Of course, commencement is much more than saying goodbye. Today's ceremony also provides us with an opportunity to reflect on the spirit that defines your class, to celebrate the knowledge that you have acquired and created, and to look forward to the exciting potential you have to offer. When I reflect on the contribution you made to your community and the commitment that you have to Pacific Oaks' core values of social justice, diversity, inclusion, and respect, I am optimistic about the future of our institution, our country, and our global community. Your class are reflective of your generation, share the value that our community needs. A dedication to serve, an appreciation of different views and lifestyles, and an understanding of the importance of collaboration across and within our community. Graduate, we are so proud of you. We will always happy to welcome you back to Pacific Oaks. Congratulations, class of 2020.
Thank you, Dr. Pedunton. We are delighted that families and friends of our graduates have joined us from around the world to celebrate this important day. It gives me great pleasure to introduce Lisa Moss, who graduates with a Master of Arts degree in Marriage and Family Therapy. Lisa's speech was selected by the Commencement Committee from numerous submissions, Congratulations, and we will now hear from Lisa.
It is an honor to be here with you today, even if it is virtually. Respect, diversity, social justice, and inclusion. These are the core values of Pacific Oaks College, and these are the values you will pass on with you as you enter the workforce in your respective fields. Thank you to Dr. Pedunton, distinguished faculty, and fellow students for allowing me to congratulate each and every one of you as we celebrate our school's 75th anniversary. Give yourselves a virtual hand. You know, when I first wrote a first draft of my speech to honor this occasion, it was before the world turned upside down. There was no mention of COVID-19, no racial injustice making the headlines, and our children were actually learning in schools instead of their dining room tables. You know, Bob Dylan once wrote, "The times they are a-changin'." And for those of you on the younger side, he was a really cool musician back in the 60s. Well, no truer words were ever spoken. As challenging as things are right now, and we have all felt it, there is strength in numbers. I have faith that each and every one of you have the ambition and passion to take what you have learned and improve our world going forward. To borrow a phrase from someone I deeply respect, we have the audacity to hope, now more than ever. You are all agents of change, whether it be in education, social justice, marriage and family therapy, business and management, psychology, or human development. We can help that next generation find their passion and make a difference because we can lead by example. Many of you have come from challenges in life, yet you are here today because you believed in making a difference and paying it forward. Some of you are first-generation college students in your family. Some of you are single parents, and some of you have juggled multiple jobs on top of school. You should all be so proud of your accomplishments. For those of you continuing your journey by pursuing your master's or doctorate, I salute you. And for those of you who have completed your journey, may you use those credentials to promote positivity into our world and help those who need it. I am humbled to have been able to speak to you today and wish you the very best future possible. Congratulations, class of 2020. I miss you all, and I'm giving you all virtual hugs.
It is a tradition at Pacific Oaks College to close our commencement ceremony with a charge to the graduating class. It is my pleasure to introduce Professor Cheryl Greer-Jarman, core faculty in the School of Human Development, to provide that charge.
Hello to the graduated class of 2020. Well, this was supposed to be the year of vision, creation, and inspiration that many of us looked forward to. Then some of us learned a word that we hadn't heard before, and our lives dramatically changed overnight. You have been stressed, and we have been stressed. You have been stretched, and we have been stretched. You have been strengthened, and we have been strengthened. Yet, we were in this together. There was value in the pandemic. If ever there was a time that the world needed students from Pacific Oaks College, that time is now. Pacific Oaks had a head start in our plan to help change the world. We've been doing what we do for 75 years, and we're still alive and well. During this time of pandemic declaration, many colleges have closed. We're still here and still true to our mission. Many institutions say what they say, yet they don't do what they do. When we say inclusion, we realize that inclusion is not just presence, it also includes participation. When we say respect, we realize that respect means more than listening to me. It also means that my words make a difference. When we say diversity, we're not talking about a program or a quota. We're talking about the reality of our societal composition. And when we say social justice, we realize that you can't jump to an action before you also talk about what's socially unjust for all people. So we had to change how we learned, yet we continued to learn. You are now new beings with new credentials and new aspirations. Now is the time to start working on your legacy, and perhaps 3 are needed. 1 for your personal life, 1 for your professional life, and 1 for your societal and global life. In addition to carrying the canons of your respective schools and experiencing the meaning of collaborative, experiential, holistic, and contextualized learning, all of us share something in common. We all have a reputation. When people hear our names, they make an association with particular traits. Certain images, memories, and behaviors come to mind. In other words, your name means something. Well, Pacific Oak's name also means something. The question is, what will it mean to you? While we retain active and vibrant PR and marketing processes, the fact remains that you will be our best brand. Our alumni are local, regional, national, and international. You are our newest alumni. We need you. We need you to share the way, and we need you to show the way. So one of your new designations is that you just have become investment counselors. Surely you realize that your matriculation was not cheap, but it was an investment. You have to protect it. And if you manage investment portfolios wisely, they can yield dividends that can last for generations. Everybody can leave something behind that will benefit someone else. So I charge you to walk in integrity. That's a word of intention. You don't have to compare, exaggerate, replicate, fabricate, manipulate, or denigrate others in order to take an integrity walk. We need people who can model goodness with their children, their grandchildren, their partners, their families, their elders, their uncaring neighbors, and their communities. While we can't always regulate someone else's life, we can impact it. Be a person of truth. Truth is often a nebulous word, and there are many variations of it. Everybody has their own spin on a story. But your inner you knows when you have intentionally crossed the line and why. An intentional half-truth is still a whole lie. Be the person who does your best to keep your word. As a child coming up, my Southern-raised mother always told me that your word is your bond. While I didn't understand what that meant then, I sure understand what it means now. People need to see and experience other people who they can depend on. For your professional legacy, consider that if you're not in the 2%, most of us will need to engage in some type of work. When we are youthful, we can be overly idealistic. Many of you are already serving in teaching, human services, and clinical positions. You will now have a degree or another degree to augment your value, voice, and virtue in your work sites. Do keep in mind that everyone is not happy about that. Everybody doesn't believe in development as a means for advancement, especially if they're not advancing. Some people are stuck, comfortable right where they are and don't desire to grow. Maintain your vision and life plan, yet pay attention. Stay observant and awake. A new degree does not mean that you now know how to run the company. We need thought thinkers, people who can develop coalitions and communities, people who can strategize in productive ways, support other people's visions, and undertake responsibilities. Developing communities is important work that can't be forced or imposed on others. Seek like-minded people. Join the art of asking authentic, reflective questions that invoke thinking. Look before you leap. It can be unwise to dive in when you've never learned how to swim. Lastly, your societal and global legacy is greatly needed for such a time as this. It seems like for every social and political advancement that we previously obtained, we're back at the beginning. Today looks a whole lot like yesterday, even if yesterday was 50 years ago. It is disheartening, demoralizing, and demonizing that anyone still has to fight for anything that is termed to be a right. How many times do we have to fight? How many people have to suffer? How many wars do we have to engage in? Why are some still thinking that equality and equity already exist? Why are we bordering land that doesn't even rightfully belong to us? Why are we still deciding that there is different worth on people who look or live differently than us? Scapegoating people for societal and global catastrophes that we created, thinking that we have the right to legislate who someone can love, that we can decide who is deserving of health care, child care, or senior care. Why are we still thinking English is the official language of the United States and still trying to decide whose lives matter? Who will resist and take a stand? Who will dare speak against systemic and institutional oppression, power differentials, marginalization, robbing people of their identities, poverty, putting children in cages, entitlement, complacent docile women, intersectionalities, environmental issues, pipelines to prisons, pipelines that desecrate sacred grounds, pipelines which poison life-giving sources, trafficking, bullying, defunding programs needed for human survival, microaggressions, macroaggressions, misappropriations, clean water, ignoring the realities of everyday historical and generational trauma, all kinds of phobias, toxic and artificial food, propaganda, conspiracy theories, and all of the other issues that are killing our bodies, souls, and spirits. Who will dare to eradicate outdated concepts and ideology while thinking that the societal goal is multiculturalism as a program instead of realizing that it's a reality and it always has been? Who will dare to be a friend and ally, stand in solidarity, even if they haven't come for your group yet? I double dare you to be the one. consider yourself charged.
Please welcome Dr. Bree Cook, Vice President of Academic Affairs and Chief Academic Officer.
This concludes our speeches celebrating and honoring the Pacific Oaks College Class of 2020. For our viewers, we ask you now return to the pacificoaks.edu commencement webpage for links to videos of the presentation of degrees. Stay safe and healthy. Thank you very much.